What's the biggest sleep myth you see ruining people's health right now?
It's a great question. I think there's a few of them, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think historically, one of the big things that people think is, I got to get 8 hours. I got to get 8 hours. I think that is probably the big one. And the truth of the matter is first of all, it's a range, right? So when you look at the data, what we really think is somewhere between 7 and 9 hours is where people can usually fall and still be well within the norms for amount of sleep. But I want to be fair. Sleep is not just a quantity game, it's a quality game as well. So, quite frankly, I'd rather you get 6.5 hours of really high quality sleep than 8 hours of really crappy sleep. And I can help define that for your listeners as well. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't focus so much on the time, but rather, how do you feel when you wake up? If you feel refreshed and ready to go and meet the day within 30 to 60 seconds of waking up, you probably got the right both amount and quality of sleep.
Okay, well, let's go into quality and talk about what that looks like.
So when we look at quality of sleep, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of think about it. I want to be clear. I think you are your own best doctor. When you wake up in the morning, how you feel is exactly how you slept. I can't count the number of people who come up to me and they're like, Dr. Breus, my sleep score on my phone said I got a 34 and I thought I slept great. And then my day turned into a 34, right? And so it's like, so I think a lot of people out there, they rely on trackers, whether that's a ring or a watch or a strap. And I want to be thoughtful here, right? So to be clear, there is no great tracker out there. I mean, I would argue the best of them all right now is probably an Oura ring, and I'll explain why. Oura is a sleep company that happens to measure activity. Whoop, as an example, is an activity company that happens to measure sleep. The ethos is very different inside of the companies. Do I think Whoop does a great job? Yeah, they do a great job of tracking activity. But here's the thing. When you look at sleep, and depth of sleep is all measured by brain waves, right? It's really hard to get brainwaves from your finger or from your wrist, right? And so you have to really be suspect of the accuracy of many of these trackers. Now, don't worry, you can still use them and you can still get value from them. But what you want to do is follow these like simple rules. Number one, don't track every day. Don't look at your data every day. You're going to drive yourself nuts. Believe it or not, there's now a disorder called orthosomnia where people get so anxiety ridden by their tracker data that they can't sleep. So we don't want you to go there. So look at your data once a week. I suggest usually on Sundays because that can help you kind of plan out for the week what's kind of going on with you. And what you're looking for is you're looking for the delta or the difference. Okay. So many people walk up to me, they're like, Michael, I only got, 18 minutes of deep sleep last night. Am I going to die? Well, yeah, you're going to die, but it's probably not from deep sleep. And you probably didn't only get 18 minutes, right? So let me see, what did you get last night? And they're like, 18 minutes. Like, well, what about the night before? Well, I got 20 minutes. Okay, well, what about the night before? It's 16 minutes. I'm like, you're fine. They're like, what do you mean? So the tracker is being consistently inaccurate. What I want to know is, instead of it saying 18 minutes, I want to know when it says 2 minutes. That's a night I want to understand what happened, right? Because clearly there's a deflection from the norm. That's what we're looking for when we see these trackers, is we're looking for trends. So don't hyper vigilantly look at your data and be like, oh my God, I only got this much, relax. Okay. Sleep is flexible. It's okay. But when you wake up, that's usually the best attempt at understanding the quality of your sleep. If you wake up and you feel pretty good, like, hey, I'm ready to go do the things that I normally do in the morning, which is maybe it's work out, maybe it's have a conversation with your partner, have a cup of coffee, whatever it is. If you're ready to do those things and you feel pretty good, you probably slept well.
Okay, have you ever seen somebody where the data, say in a traditional sleep study, so we know it's quality,
Yep.
is good, they had a quality sleep and they slept long enough, but yet they're still tired in the morning?
Yes. Great question. So believe it or not, there is a sleep disorder called sleep state misperception. So this is a known category of people. And the way we have to treat them is we have to bring them into the sleep lab, attach all the electrodes, and show them that they got good sleep because they are convinced that they didn't get good sleep. So we do have that happen on occasion. But if we monitor it and we measure it and we know for a fact that they really did get good quality, most people will tell me that they feel better the next day. However, there is a caveat here, which is if you haven't slept well in like 10 years and you sleep well for 1 or 2 nights, you're still going to wake up and feel like crap because your body's trying to catch up. So you also want to give yourself enough time sleeping well to allow those effects to come forward.
Talk more to that catching up piece.
Sure.
How does somebody do that in a healthy way? Say in or out of their control, they've been slacking on their sleep,
Right.
so they have sleep debt.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does it take?
This is a constant argument within sleep medicine. Every year or two, somebody says you can't catch up. Then every year or two, somebody says you can catch up. Here's where the way I like to answer that question. It's a little bit different answer than you're probably expecting, which is the easiest way to know that you're getting high quality sleep is to sleep within something called your chronotype. So people out there may not know what the word chronotype means, but you've probably heard of the concept before. If you've ever been called an early bird or a night owl, those are chronotypes. Believe it or not, those are genetic. And if you follow your natural chronotypical behavior, you naturally have a higher quality sleep. And that's one easy way to catch up on your sleep is to identify your chronotype. By the way, super easy to do. Go to chronoquiz.com. Everybody knows my quiz and you can learn what your chronotype is. And we even tell you what those time frames are and try to sleep within those time frames. So if you're an early bird, what I call a lion, I'm having you go to bed around 9:30, 9:45. You're waking up around 5:30 or so, right? Versus a night owl, what I call a wolf, you might not go to bed until midnight. You probably don't wake up until 7. So if you can fall into your zone, if you will, or your swim lane for sleep, you'd be surprised how quickly your body will catch up. That's thing number one. Number two, you want to think about catching up a little bit on the weekends, but the caveat here is this is better for kids than it is for adults. So when you have a teenager, right, who all they want to do is stay up until 2 and sleep until 2, right, let them sleep in on the weekends, okay? Don't have that battle royale with your children. It is, number one, it ain't worth it because you're going to lose, right? I mean, it's a biological process, right? And kids at that age naturally become night owls. This is a well-known, documented fact that a lot of these children have this propensity to stay up late and sleep late. So let your kids sleep in on Saturday. Don't let them sleep too late on Sunday within an hour of their normal prescribed bedtime. And the reason I say this is okay for kids and not as great for adults is here's what happens with adults. If you stay up late on Friday, sleep in on Saturday, stay up late on Saturday, sleep in on Sunday, this is why Mondays suck, okay? Because your body has what's called social jet lag. You, believe it or not, in just 2 days, you actually rotate your circadian rhythm. So what you really want to do is keep your circadian rhythm as consistent as possible. So for adults, my recommendation, which is not fun, but it works, is to wake up at the same time 7 days a week. Now, I get it. People don't like to do that. They're like, Michael, come on, you're killing me. Like, I don't want to wake up on Saturday at 6 a.m. But let me explain to you what happens when you wake up at the same time and why, biologically speaking, it's definitely your friend. So when you wake up in the morning, sunlight hits your eyeball and you have a special cell in your eye called a melanopsin cell. This cell sends a signal to the back of your brain to turn off the melatonin faucet in your head, okay? But it sets a timer for almost exactly 14 hours later. It's called the melatonin phase response curve, okay? But what I just said was the time that you wake up sets a timer for exactly when melatonin is produced at night. So if you have an inconsistent wake up time, then you have inconsistent melatonin production time at night. And that's where the problem lies. So by making your wake up time consistent, you make melatonin consistent. And now you have a much better shot at being able to not only fall asleep, but stay asleep, which, by the way, is kind of the number one problem that people ask me about is like, what do I do when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't go back to bed? Usually they have a very inconsistent wake up time. And that's one of the first things we work on.
Since you made it to the end of this clip, I know you're going to love the full episode. Click here to watch. I'll see you over there.
What do I do when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't go back to bed? By the way, is kind of the number one problem that people ask me about. This is exactly the protocol that I use with my patients. So every human on Earth